All right. Since our last recording of the meeting cut off, I thought I'd make like a super condensed version. Seeing as we've all talked through everything already a bit and had questions and this sort of thing. So this is just going to be a show of how to do the workflow, working as a team, as a developer. What different cases can occur, what you need to bear in mind. Cool. So just to briefly describe the overview, when you're working as a developer, there are like three aspects to working in a team. Firstly is your own workflow, which changes a bit because you're working with other people. This involves things like, your Git workflow, so creating a new branch to make changes, adding, committing, and then the other part, and part of it kind of fits into this, is making a pull request. So when you want to add your changes back into the main branch of the project, which is where all the correct and accepted code is, you push it to GitHub, and then you ask for one of your teammates to review it, and then you merge it once it's been reviewed and accepted. Otherwise, there is, working with your teammates on the same code base. You want to have documentation of what your functions and your components do, because otherwise it's very hard to understand what does what, and then it makes it hard for other people to work with. Similarly, to make things easy for other people to work with, you want to stick to certain conventions. Decide if you're going to do your functions as like function or const declarations. I recommend functions because then it shows very clearly that it's a function. And stuff like how many lines are you going to have max, like 100 or 80 or whatever. I think that's the main stuff there. Also, the pull request kind of comes into this. Finally, there's working with project manager and design. How this normally goes, they view the tickets. My coffee's boiled, 1 second. Okay. They view the ticket. So you will move your tickets along as you're doing the workflow. Initially, they'll give you some requirements, like in terms of functionality and in terms of how things should look. You look at them, you ask questions about them. You say, oh, what happens in this case? You say, actually, I think this might be quite hard to do. Can we simplify it? And then you start work, and usually as you're working, you discover other things that need to be slightly different. And you comment on the ticket or write in Slack, usually good in a very visible place so that everybody has access to the information about what's happening to this part of the project. Okay, let's create a project then. I'm going to do just a front end one this time. I'm going to share my entire screen. Just to speed things up a bit. Awesome. Let's create new repository. So one of you will create this in your profile. I'm going to call it Teamwork Demo. It's available. Let's, this is something I already wrote earlier, to add the description, add a README. This creates a first commit on main. We want this, not important, create repository. Okay, so we've already got our project and a first commit. This is for the first ticket. So when the tickets are ready to do, they'll be in the to-do pile. Yours will have your you as the team member who's executing it. I've started on this one, so I'm moving it into in progress. Create initial front-end project. Let's see, set up a repository. Okay, I've done this. Should have actually moved it over a little earlier. The project name should appear in the front-end UI. And I've said that this will be a React app. I'm a developer, so I make the technical calls on it along with my teammates. Cool, so we've got the repository, so let's get it locally and let's make it a React app. So I copy the code here. It gives me the command that I'll need to do. So clone this link. Go to my terminal. I'm in the ready folder. This is where I want to be. And see what else is there. Lots of ready stuff. Clear terminal, Command K. This just cleans things up. Git clone, boom. Okay, now I have this, and let's see if it's appeared. Teamwork demo, there it is, clear. So I want to go into this project. So to go down a level, I go CD teamwork demo. Teamwork demo, enter. Okay, now I want to start coding. So let's do code dot. And I'm going to make it full screen. Move it here. Okay. So far, we only have the README. This lines up with what we have in Git. There's only a README file. There's only one commit. You can check the commits here. Okay, go back to the code. I am going to make a new branch. FE1, create initial front-end project. So we reference everything. I like to open a terminal in the editor when I'm working on it. Just makes sense to have everything in one place so that I can keep track of what I'm doing. So Git, to create a new branch, you do checkout -b. That's the key word here. And then in the quotes, you do reference your ticket name, FE1. You can't have spaces, so you have underscore. Create initial front-end React app. Okay, and I've moved to this branch. Very useful thing for working with Git is to have Git graph. This shows me, and you'll see it growing, a visual representation of what you're doing. You can go to extensions, type in Git graph. It shows up, install it, and it'll come up here. Okay, go back to our file system. Yeah, so we're now on a new branch. I'm going to install React because that's what I'm supposed to do here, right? Create React app. So let's do it. React app, boom. First link, thank you, React. And they get me get started in seconds, create a project, run this command, copy, run the command. Awesome. Now we just have to wait for React to load. In a minute, I'm going to check that it's actually working. So I'm going to open up a side terminal. I like to usually have two terminals, one for like doing my Git commands workflow thing, and one for running the project, which we'll do in a sec. It smells of coffee here. It's nice. Okay, that's all installed. It already tells me what commands I can use. You can also see them in the package JSON. Scripts, start. So run the project by start. I'm going to rename my app to frontend. So the whole project is Teamwork Demo, but the front-end app is the front-end part. Yes, so to run it, so this is not a React app. The React app is front-end, and front-end is inside Teamwork Demo. So I repeat, I do CD, enter, one level down, front-end. Boom. Okay, now I'm in my React app. I can clear this terminal, and I'm going to run npm start like it recommended I would. Okay, and it's opened it in a new tab, of course. Yeah, I'm actually just going to copy. It opens automatically with Create React App on localhost 3000. I am gonna put it here. In fact, we can get rid of this now, so let's just switch there. Okay, that's my React app. Cool. One more requirement in the ticket. Project name should appear in front-end UI. So let's do that. So I open my front-end folder. I go into the source, go into the app.js. Yeah, and I'm going to remove all of this stuff because we don't need it. That's, yeah. And I'm going to remove the logo because it's not being used anymore. And then I'm going to also delete logo SVG because that's not being used either. Cool. And then I'm just going to add some text. Let's make it a header 1. Ready team work demo. Okay, save. All right, so I'm now going to save my changes. Yeah, I am going to do git add. I want to add all of my changes, so I do a dot. We're going to see what happens here. So far, I've got all of these changes, and they're all in the changes file section. When I add them, they get like prepared to save. So they're staged, this is called. So we're preparing to save these. We need to save them with a message. So we do git commit. -m is the shortest way to do this. And then we reference the ticket name again, very important, because your commit history is the only thing that remains in Git. You don't, like, your branches don't remain there. So FE1, create initial front-end React app. Doesn't always have to be the same as the branch name. Enter. Commit has been added. Let's see what happens on the graph, but it is usually something similar. So we have one extra addition, and it's here on this other branch. This is main branch. This is the branch that I've created. It's over here. It's not connected to main yet. Cool. So we've done all the changes. Let's now stop these changes from being only local and add them to the project in GitHub, because right now they're not there. They're only on my computer. So we do git push. And the first time after you've created a new branch, you do, and you're pushing, you do git push dash space dash u origin and then the name of the branch. Otherwise, it doesn't know where to push it to. And here it says, okay, it's pushed. Let's create a pull request on GitHub by visiting this link. So I click on the link. Okay, I've misspelled initial. I can clean this up in Git, but I can clean it up here. This is the basic React app. There is no real functionality. Awesome. Yeah, I'm ready to create my pull request. I create it. I move my in progress to pending because it's now in a pull request. And then, because I haven't, I should show you how to add collaborators. Because I haven't got anybody else working on this project, I can't actually add any reviewers. But normally you'd click on this and then you type in the name of somebody else working on the project. So last time we had Alexander. He's not going to show up because he's not added here. Sorry. But usually he'd show up and you just click on him and then he's added. So let's show you how to add somebody. You should do this immediately after creating your app. You go to settings after creating the repository. Go to collaborators, add people, type in their GitHub handle and then add them. They'll get an email they need to accept and then they'll be there. We did this. Yeah. Okay, but let's pretend that there's somebody reviewing here. We go to the file changes. They're reading through carefully. Yeah, maybe I have left a comment. So you don't need to check all of the React stuff. React knows what it's doing. Check the changes that you've made. You could even do this as 2 different commits. So create a commit after you've installed the React app. And then this would in fact be better. Create a commit when you make your changes in app. So just this changes so that the people know what to look at. So you might say, so I, as the person who has made the pull request, might not be sure about something. So I say, should I use a different tag? Sometimes you're not sure about this. Oh, what's happening here? No, stay and call. Yeah, and then I add a single comment. Yeah, let's just check that that's recording. Yes, it is recording. Cool. Bad moment there. Cool. And then, okay, now I'm pretending to be the reviewer. So I would look at the change that the person has made. So here, yeah, and I might say, I think this H1 makes sense. So add a single comment, and then let's go and make a review. Well, actually, I've noticed that this file is not needed. So you're not using this file, please remove. And I click start a review, and then I continue with my review. Other comment, add a review comment. When I'm ready, I would click either approve if I'm happy, if I'm like nothing here's going to break, either request changes, which is probably what I do now, although like nothing that I asked for was important, or comment. And because I'm the owner, pardon me, because I'm the author, I can't do these, but you would. And maybe I'd say, look good to me, just one requested change, and then I submit my review. Cool. So now in the pull request, in the conversation, I add a commit, I ask a question, reviewer answers the question, reviewer gives the overall like feedback and then asks me to remove this file and then makes another comment. Yeah, so I'm going to do my thumbs up to that comment. It's great. I'm going to go back here and I'm going to make the change that they said. There's not always a change, sometimes, but like, yeah, if there's not a change requested, just skip the bit I'm doing now. We want to remove the file. Let's do that. Delete, move to trash. Okay. Then there's only one file change, so I'm going to add all the changes. Git add dot. If you wanted to add a specific file, then do git add, then tab, and it selects frontend, source, and then it'll give you options of what to select. But because there's only one file change, then yeah. So I just tabbed through that. So I just added this. It's gone into stage changes. Then I make my commit. Git commit -m. Still reference the ticket FE1, and then write removed unused file, PR requested change. Enter, and this time I push, and you can see what's happening to the Git history here. I'm adding them on. Because I've already pushed once, I don't have to do uorigin, so I just do git push. Enter. Okay. Refresh this. Okay, this is outdated. I've removed it. Looks good to me. Just one requested change. If you have a reviewer, they will be listed here. If they've requested changes, there'll be a little round thing here. And you can click on that and it'll request another review. So you'll say, hey, here, I made the change. Look at it again. And when they approve, let's say mine's now approved, I can do merge pull request, confirm merge, delete branch. Awesome. So in the code, I now have one branch main and the changes are here, all of them. Yeah, so I can look at my code. Yep, everything's there and it shows you the most recent commit message for each set of files. Cool. One more thing I want to do. I want to go to main, check out main. I want to pull locally so that I have the changes. Always do this before you start making new changes. Whenever you get a new ticket, pull everything. Yeah, let's do that. Git pull. This just refreshes. Sometimes this doesn't update. Yeah, and you can see in Git graph that you had the main branch there. You went off, did another branch, made one commit, made a second commit, and then you merged them together. Yeah, and finally, to clean up, I want to delete the unused branch. So I do git branch, little dash, D, space, name of the branch, FE1, tab, and it auto-completes, deleted the branch, because otherwise you have all these branches hanging around locally. You already deleted it in GitHub, now you need to delete it here. Cool. So let's move this to done. No longer pending. Okay, second one, move it to in progress, login functionality. Login button when user clicks, button is clicked, user is automatically logged in. Assigned to me. Okay, so eat, sleep, rave, repeat. Git branch B, not branch, sorry. Git checkout, new branch, FE2, no spaces, so underscore, add login functionality, LIT, new branch. Okay. One thing you have to decide on with your teammates is what kind of structure your app has. This is to do with teamwork as well. So some apps have a deep structure. This is where your components are separate, your views, like your pages, are separate, your API calls are separate, and you have a folder called components, API, views, etc. Or you can have a more flat structure, which is where each of the features that you work on has its own folder. So I'm going to do that because I'm working around feature stuff. I'm making a login. So I'm going to call folder login. I'm going to add a file called login.jsx. It's React. Okay, and I'm just going to create a view component, const login view. I'm not going to spend ages explaining the React. This is not what we're here for. Returns. It's going to return a simple div. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to add some documentation, super important. Okay, so it doesn't return anything. UI component page allowing a user to log in. Okay, now we understand what this does. You should anyway understand from the title, but it's good to have this. Okay, and let's see what this says. A login button. When the button is clicked, the user automatically appears. Add a login button. Okay, login. Boom. For a start, let's just check that this works. This is good practice. On click, alert. Hi. You also want to import React, usually. This is good, even if it's not used. And we want to export the component so we can use it and see. Export. Okay. Import it into app. So normally this would be a different page, but I'm not here again to teach you how to program in React. I'm here to show what the workflow is like. Okay, save it. Can't resolve React in users Liska frontend. That's not good. Why can it not resolve React? Because I've got a space in there. Got it. Okay. Yeah, I'm here how to show you how to not program in React. Often CSS files are at the bottom, so I'm going to move this down. Go away. Okay. Sweet. Cool. Let's check how the app is doing. And we got a login button. If I click it, it says hi. Great. Now let's do setting the user. Const user set. In fact, username. I'm going to do this separately to be neater. Username. Use state. And it's going to be undefined. Copy this for password. Now there is some point to showing you how to write the code because I want to demonstrate like how you write it neatly and the documentation and like line length conventions. So this will help you work as a team. Okay, so we're going to do if the username exists, which currently it doesn't because it's undefined, then show the username. Okay, and we're just going to copy the same for password. In fact, let's do this is the username. This is the password. Okay, change this to password. Change that to password. Cool, and nothing should show up because they're undefined. Let's check. Yeah. Okay, now finally, let's set these. Function, handle click, fairly standard naming. You could also do handle login if you wanted. Let's do handle login. Okay, and this is not how a login is done in case you're, in case this is confusing, do not do logins like this. Yeah, this is just demonstrating a bit of documentation, set password, also Liska. Okay. So I'm going to put the login function here. And finally, yeah, we're going to do some documentation for the function. So this is function to handle logging in. So allows the user to log in. Yeah. Cool. If the function, so this function is returning nothing, that's called void. It's also not taking any parameters, but you can check how to write proper documentation in JS doc. And generally, if you'd have a parameter, you might have at param, like this, I think, string, name. Okay, I'd have to check this. Let's see. JS doc, I was looking this up earlier. At param string. Okay. Yeah. So it's the other way around. I write TypeScript largely, not JavaScript. So it's a bit different. String name. And this would be like that. And then I'd understand that I need to pass the name here and that it has to be of type string, not of type number, because that doesn't make sense. And when you read it, you know what this is. If you don't have this, this could be a number. You've got no way of knowing. You're just guessing. Similarly, for the return type, you do @returns, right? And then here, if I'm returning something, say I'm returning hi, or say I'm returning 4, I do returns curly brackets number. Just tells me what comes back from the function. I can even give an example. Say the number is always going to be this length, you might want to show a number that length. If it's always going to be like that, or maybe you can have 0 point numbers. So maybe you want to show that it can be like this. Anyway, all good practice. We're not going to do that. That is the bit about documentation that I wanted to show you. Cool, we're just going to add everything then. So here are our changes. I check them. Are we happy? Yes, we are. Git add dot, because I'm adding everything. I'm going to clear my console. Command K. Git commit M FE2. And here I can have spaces, add login functionality and display user. Okay, then I'm going to push it. Git push u origin, because it's the first time I have pushed this branch. That. Then it says create pull request. Click there. Okay. The user can now log in and be displayed. I request a non-existent reviewer. I have nowhere to choose from, but I do it. I create a pull request and I move this over to pending. Okay. The reviewer likes everything. They review the changes. They say, look good to me. They approve, which I can't do. Submit the review. Okay, I see this. I get a notification about it. Yeah, and I merge the pull request. Confirm merge. I delete the branch. Go back to my regular, like to my local code. Check out main. So just switching branches here. Clear the console. Git pull. So I now have all the changes, all of the new changes, and we can see in the Git graph that we created one pull request, we merged it, we created another branch, commit, pull request, merged it. All of the changes are here now. We have our login, and finally I'm going to delete the branch. Git, mixing these up all the time, branch little d, and this one's called FE2, add login functionality. Deleted. Cool. Clear. Okay, finally, I'm going to show you what happens when it's not easy to merge a request. This is when we get something called merge conflicts. Yeah, so I merged everything. I can move this to done. So to demonstrate merge conflicts, we're going to do a little nav bar, and we're just going to change 2 names there, 2 items. So add a nav bar, move it into progress. Open it up, should contain links to library, profile, and frogs. Links don't have to work. Okay, so we don't need a real nav bar, we just need something. Okay, I'm in the source folder. I'm going to create another one called nav bar. I'm going to create the nav bar view, navbar.jsx. Okay, I'm in fact going to copy my, no, in fact, this is probably faster. Import React from React, no space this time. Const navbar returns a division. Okay. This navigational React component. UI component, let's call it UI component. Okay. Okay, we have our div. Yeah. But actually, I'm going to make this a list because that makes sense for a navbar. So let's make it an unordered list. Unordered list. remove the extra space. And the list is going to have 4 items. My ESLint is not working. Yeah, I have some issues here. Okay. So yeah, so something else good for working with teammates is to have ESLint enabled. This is another extension. Instead of git graph, type in ESLint. Lint. Here it is. Install it. It makes sure that your formatting is regular. So this is ESLint telling me that I have not used this component, despite the fact that I've declared it. It'll tell me if my line length is too long. I can demo that as well. Okay, so I create 4 list items. Yeah, and what are they supposed to be called? They are library, profile, process, and frogs. Library, profile, process, frogs. I'm just going to check that this is still recording. I'll be sad if it isn't. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Yeah. Oh, and they're supposed to be links. Okay, so they're list items, but all of them are going to have an A tag. A and href is going to go nowhere. This is maybe even a bit too much coding, but whatever. Okay, library. Move that in there. Why doesn't it like it? Requires use a button and change it with appropriate styles. No, go away. Okay, this case I actually don't want. Okay, so let's yeah. Okay, let's give it to Google. Everything's going to link to Google. www.google.com. Cool. Okay, now I just copy this 4 times as well. Boom, boom, boom. And remember to add the closing tags. Copy that. Okay, cool. Now I export my navbar. And I go back to my files. I go to app. And I'm going to put my navbar above the title. It's going to look super ugly. I don't care. I'm going to move the import up to keep some sort of consistency. All right. Yay. Okay. These all go to Google. But oh, actually, they go to localhost Google. Okay, whatever. Yeah, it's because I didn't format the link correctly. Doesn't matter. Cool. Yeah, so I think that's it. Yeah, so I can push these. Git add dot git commit. See, always the same. Oh, okay, yeah, and I didn't create a new branch. This happens. I've made the changes. I've been working on main. The important thing is that I didn't commit them. So I'm going to do git status. It says that these are added, and it says git restore staged, and then the file name to unstage. So I want to unstage them because I do not want to add these on main. But yeah, so you just do git status, restore staged, and let's see which file names did I change, app.js and navbar JSX. Okay, so I'm just going to tab. Oh, can I tab? Yeah, I can tab. In fact, I'm going to unstage everything in front end. Let's check the git status again. Now they're not staged. Great. So now that I've corrected that mess up of adding something to main, I'm going to create my new branch. So you should do this at the start. But if you haven't added, then you can pull them over. So don't panic if this happens. Git checkout B. It's maybe a good demo of how to save this. Front end 3, add a navbar. No spaces, add navbar. Okay, then I add everything. Then I commit. Actually, I'm going to do this the other way. This is the long way of committing. It's better, but you're better. But okay, git commit -m message front end 3 : add a basic navbar with 4 elements. Okay, then I push, and because it's the first time on this branch, I do git push u origin, and then the name of the branch, front end, add a navbar. See, just eat, sleep, rave, repeat. Go to the pull request. Can close these, by the way. Add a basic navbar. The links do not yet work. Great pull request. Okay, I'm going to request a reviewer. They're going to say it's okay. I'm going to merge the pull request. Oh, well, actually, I've just created this pull request. So let's move this to pending. Yeah, created it. Okay. Request a reviewer. They say it's okay. I confirm merge. I delete the branch. I go here. I git checkout main. I pull the changes, git pull. Okay, I clear my terminal. All the changes are now here. We also have the navbar. I'm going to delete my branch, git branch, delete fe3. Okay, and we're going to go on to the changes which can create, by editing the navbar, we're going to create a merge conflict and then resolve it. And this is the last thing that we do. So cool. This has been approved. It's all cleaned up and deleted. This gets moved to done. Update navbar item name. So we have an FE4. Library should change to resources. So imagine that these are, now if I'm doing these by myself, then I do one and then I merge the changes, I pull them, and then I do the other. But however, what happens when you're working in a team is that people make changes at the same time as each other. So I'll be working on this and somebody else will be working on this. And then I'll make a pull request and then they'll make a pull request. And then we need to pull in each other's changes and resolve conflicts when this happens. So I'll demonstrate what this means. Update navbar item name. Library should change to resources. Okay, it's in progress. Let's do it. Git branch, git checkout, branch, fe4, update navbar item name. Okay. Yeah, so library should change to resources. And actually, while I'm here, I'm going to fix the Google links. So they should be like this, I think. HTTPS. I always get confused by that, actually. How is it? HTTPS // okay. Yeah, I did that right. Cool. Yeah, and this is going to create another, this is going to help me create a merge conflict, basically. So paste it there, paste it there, paste it there. Okay, save it. Generally, you should only do one thing, but you can make little small fixes and stuff. So I'm going to add that. Git add everything. We've only got one file. Yeah, you can check it with git status. This tells you the same thing that's there. So this is modified and it's to be committed. So let's commit it. Git commit fe4 update navbar item name and fix links. Okay, git push u origin 4, boom, enter. Okay, let's open up a pull request. Go here, create pull request. I've added a reviewer. They're about to look at it. I'm waiting for them. Well, I'm starting to work on something else. So I'm going to put that into pending. Okay, while I'm waiting for the reviewer to get back to me, I start on this, or somebody else starts on it. So remove frogs from the navbar. All right. Don't start it from here. Always go back to main. Always. Because otherwise you get the changes that are in that branch. Git checkout main. So after you've done working on a branch, go back to main. Okay. And then we create a new branch. Git checkout branch, fe5. And what's it called? Remove frogs item from navbar. Okay. Made a typo there. Doesn't matter. If you want to know how to correct those, call me. Yeah, I won't complicate things here. Cool. So let's remove the frogs item from the navbar. You see, the changes are gone because we're on the main branch. Doesn't exist there. So we're just going to remove this one like that. We're going to save it. Going to add everything. Going to commit everything. fe5. Remove frogs item from navbar. Okay, then I'm going to push it. Gish push u origin remove frogs item from navbar. And we're going to create a pull request. And then it gets like briefly a little tricky, but not very tricky. Create a pull request. I've requested a review. I move this into pending. Okay. Yeah. All right. So what can happen is that maybe FE5 is merged before FE4. That is fine. So let's say the reviewer sees, this is like a super easy change. There's only one thing removed. Review changes. Okay, looks good to me. Submit review. I've approved. I haven't commented. And then I, as the person who made it, was like, okay, great, that's approved. So let's merge the pull request. So we can confirm the merge, delete branch, move this over into done. And we go back to the code, git checkout main, clean up, and git pull. Okay, so we now have the changes. So frogs is no longer in our main branch. But if you look at the FE4, yeah, this is a problem because this code, the changes here, assume that frogs exists. It now doesn't exist. So you have to update this, and this can happen very often when you're working with people. How do you do this? I'm going to slow down a little bit here. Okay. In the pull request, it'll say this branch has conflicts that must be resolved. It tells you where. We're going to do this in the code editor. Don't do it here. This is painful. Okay, so how do I do it? I switch to this branch. Oh no, wait, yeah, well, I've pulled main. Okay, so main is up to date. So I switch to the branch git checkout FE4. Okay, I'm gonna check that we're still recording. Yeah, we are good. Okay, checkout FE4. This is merged. I can close this. Yeah, and then I'm going to do something called rebase. So basically, what I'm going to do is take the changes that are in main and take the changes that are in FE4, and I'm going to move, because this has moved ahead one git commit. We can see this here in the branch. You see, this is FE4, but main actually has more changes in it now, so it's up here. So we're going to move this bit on top of the new changes from main. So we're going to rebase it onto there. I'm going to take this and we're going to add in all of these changes to make sure that it also has this. So let's do it. Simple. Git rebase main. Boom. Okay, and sometimes you should always, anyway, do this if you've pulled main. Go to your branch and rebase. Sometimes it'll just rebase automatically, but I deliberately made it now so we have a merge conflict. So there's one uncommitted change here. That's this one. It's trying to be moved over here. Let's see what the issue is. All right, so then we get this. Yeah, this shows the difference between what is in the main branch and what is on your branch. So here it says head current change. And we can look, in fact, this is a good place to work. Merge changes. So we click here and this is what's being shown. So this is in the version control, source control. And this is where we're staging stuff. And this is to do with your workflow. So it shows up here. So what you need to do is you need to decide what this should look like on your local machine. So somebody removed the frog. In the main, in the current changes, there now isn't frogs. And also all the links are changed. All the links are, oh no, you changed the links. Okay, in the main, they just removed the frogs. You have changed all the links and the frogs is still there. So you say, which do you want? You can either accept current change. That means you're going to just take everything that's in main and basically delete everything you just did. Yeah, you can do that. Makes no sense, Zed. In this case, sometimes it makes sense. Sometimes this is very intelligent, but it sometimes just doesn't know what to do. And that's when you get merge conflicts. You can accept the incoming change. So you say, nope, I'm going to ignore the changes in main. Yeah, don't do this usually because, or completely, unless you're sure, because usually changes have been made because changes should be made. So this should be taken away. Okay, you can also accept both changes and just like have this and then edit it here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just remove the frogs there so I can see what's happened here, remove the frogs. And then this is called the incoming change. So that's the one that I've created. It's a new one. I'm going to do accept incoming change. Click, save. Okay, so I've saved it. Now I need to add it. Yeah, so you just click this add. You can either do here, add the conflicted files. I kind of like to use the editor for this. Sorry, the interface. Just add that staged. Okay. And then I just do git. So it says git add, and you add the name of the file. I'll do it there as well. So git add, and then I'm tabbing. Okay. And then I do the next thing it says, git rebase continue, git rebase continue. Okay, it asks you, is this all right? To exit this view, you will have problems with this probably. Press the escape button. Escape, then press the semicolon. Okay, this sign, semicolon, and then do WQ. That does write and quit. So it saves your changes and it exits the view. If you get stuck there, just get in touch. Cool, so we're back there. The changes have been made. You see there's no frogs. Yeah, and you can push your changes. So git push, and I think I need to do push force. Yeah, okay. When you've made a change that like changes the history essentially, so we've now sort of changed this is different. This is the same commit. This commit is update navbar item and fix links. It's been moved on top of the main. It's now different from this. This is at origin. That means it's on GitHub. That's this one here. If you look at the files, it's one commit, but yeah, so we can click through here. One commit, update navbar name and fix links. Update navbar name and fix links. Item name. But they're now different. You're not adding this. And here, yeah, there's no frogs. So you need to push force. So you basically need to say, I'm going to override the changes there. So try and only use push force in this case. So it says it's refresh, it's out of date. That commit no longer exists, but that's fine because we just replaced it. There's no frogs. Commits, yeah, this same one, but it's been adjusted. And now it's checking. Yeah, it says it's fine. The person has approved. Did I move that independent? Yeah, I did. Okay, cool. I resolve the merge conflicts. It's been approved by the reviewer. I merge, delete branch. Okay, finally, I go here, git checkout main, git pull. I get all the changes. Everything is now here. Yep, close those. Everything looks great. Let's see what's happened to the git graph. Yeah, everything's been merged in. You see, this is the main, and it just gets all the changes added steadily. Cool. I want to delete my branches. Git, always do that. Branch, delete. And then I have two ones, well, three ones, but do not delete main. Please do not delete main. Okay. And then I can tab up and maybe do the same again. Git branch, delete. And I just tabbed and got the autocomplete FE5. Okay, and if I do now git branch to see what all my branches are, I only have main. Cool. Let's look at the code for a sec. Code. Yeah. Didn't just want to look at the last commit. Front end. You have all the different commits. I misspelt initial. Great. Source. Yeah, create initial frontend up, update navbar. The last one in this one was add basic navbar. This was add login functionality, so it shows you the last commit message for that file. What else? I can also look at the commits here. You see what happens. So did a commit, merged it, did a commit, merged it, did a commit, merged it. It's always this flow. Sometimes you have to deal with merge conflicts. That's it. Let's see what happens now. All right, so did we check our login functionality? I don't think we did. Let's click that. Password, also Liska. Okay, so apparently I'm not setting the username. You should check this before. Username, this is the username. Because I removed it. That's why. Liska. Maybe now I want to add a fix. So I write a ticket for this. Click it again, username, also Liska. This is dumb. Check your work, please, as you're doing it. Make sure it all works as you expect it to. But yeah, sometimes it happens. Add a ticket, make the fix. Yeah. Do these go to Google? Don't know. Yeah, they do. Cool. Nice. then I think that is it. Stop presenting, stop recording.